just say our names really quick at first so she knows who's here. So I'm Kayla Cox.
I'm Lena Jones.
And I am Lakin Guthrie.
And we know Stacy's going to come in at some point or may not be able to make it. So we're just going to go ahead without her. I think we can just ask the questions and whoever feels like they have a thought can talk. If no one's talking, then we can start going in order. So I'll just ask the first question and go from there. So the first one is, what do you think is the greatest technological advancement in history? It's kind of a broad question.
I know. I'm like, trying to think. Those smartphones, I guess.
Yeah, smartphones are big. I guess for me, the big things in my lifetime have been smartphones and like Facebook, so internet, like social media.
Mm-hmm.
I use Facebook every day, and I know like basically everyone I know also does. So I think that's a big deal.
This is such a broad question. I mean, I would just say the same thing that you guys have already said with smartphones and social media. I think, like Kayla said, social media has probably been the biggest, like, I just remember, like, when I was younger and, like, MySpace was around, but, like, I wasn't old enough to have MySpace. But then, like, Facebook happened and Instagram and Twitter. And, like, I feel like once Facebook came out, like, it just all boomed. And I think I'm glad that we had this lesson on like social media, because it really had us recognize like how big of an advancement that was.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I guess another one is just the telephone, because people still call today like they did a long time ago. So that's been going on for a long time.
That's true.
The next question is, why have we witnessed such acceleration in technology in these last days? And why do you think the Lord might be behind it?
I'm just thinking about like people who live in places that like missionaries aren't, yet they've found the gospel. Like I know for a fact that they found it through social media. They found it online. And I think that is like, that's just a huge place of how the Lord wants to hasten his work, and how I'm just amazed at like how people can reach out to others through the online world, and how that is spreading the gospel.
Yeah, I definitely think that social media has like a negative connotation at first though. Because even when I think about it, I'm like, think of Facebook, oh, I need to stop using it so much, or, you know, like I need to stop looking at it and do other things for my life.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this lesson, how it talked about spreading the gospel more, and made me realize that we're so lucky to have it. And it definitely is the Lord that's helping us out there. But Satan is trying to change our minds about it and to make us feel bad about using it and make us use it for different reasons other than sharing the gospel. So
I like that you pointed out that like the kind of like the first thing you think about when you think about social media is like, I need to stop using it. But I feel like, imagine if every day like our main use for social media was to spread light and spread positivity and like spread the gospel, then I feel like it becomes less of something that we want to take out of our life and something that we want to like keep up with. So I think I really like that you brought that up.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Let's see the next question. What might your day-to-day behavior with technology tell others about how you really feel about the purpose and blessing of technology? I guess we kind of just talked about that. I feel like usually our daily use is not to spread light. I mean, in my case, I don't know about anybody else, but I usually don't. And this last assignment to spread the gospel on social media, I hadn't done that in a long time, and I felt horrible. I was thinking, oh, I haven't spread the gospel in such a long time. And so I think other people probably look at the way I use it and not be like inspired by the gospel. That makes sense. Not that I post bad things, but yeah.
Yeah, I use it to veg.
Yeah.
That's the honest truth. I really do. I'm not a I have a Facebook account, but I honestly, most of the stuff I do on social media, I do it at the end of the day when I'm exhausted from working in school, and I just sit there and I just kind of, look at old shows on my phone, or I go shopping on my phone or whatever. It's nothing bad, but it's nothing amazing either. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, eh. I felt like when you talked about being on the sidelines, that's me. I am on the sidelines when it comes to social media. And it does have a negative connotation. That's probably part of it for me. But I don't know about you guys, but I just feel like a lot of it comes off very showy. Like, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it just requires too much attention, like that I just don't have. I'm like, I just can't give that much attention. So for me, it was a reach. It really was. I really, really try to share certain things and then I'll forget, you know what I mean? It's just not a priority. So even me I actually ended up putting the, because of him video on Facebook. I actually did that because I remember seeing the video and thinking, oh, I should share it. And I never did. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll share it. So anyway.
Yeah, your thought reminds me of that video when all the kids were talking about how fame is like the most important thing now, and they're talking about how
that was crazy.
Like it feels so good when everyone likes my post, and I think it's sad that is what drives our self-esteem now. It's just likes on Instagram or Facebook, and I thought that was a little sad.
Yeah, scary too, you know what I mean? Because that's why, all the bullying that happens and all the things that we hear, and kids, there's a lot more attempts at suicide and starting suicide at a much younger age now. And I think social media is a big part of that, unfortunately, So.
Okay. So, what connections can you make between Elder Bednar's principles and the 4 wings of the dragonfly? That's kind of like the main idea of our whole lesson this week.
One thought that I had preparing was just the first thought I had when I read that question. I felt like Bednar gave us like a guide on how to develop those wings. So like the 4 are focus, grab attention, take action, and engage. And one thing that I really got from Bednar's talk was like the quality of the content that we kind of post, provide, etc. And so like he talked a lot about being authentic and how it's to edify and uplift, and how we should share the gospel with genuine love and concern for others. Kind of like those things. I felt like he did a really good job. I mean, I don't know if he, anyway, sorry. I think he did a really good job of like teaching us how to make good use of social media.
Honey, if you need anything to drink or eat, tell Cassidy. Nice to meet you. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. But yeah, I just feel like he really, I felt like that was where it connected of like how we can build those wings, and like the quality of our focus, our attention that we're grabbing, and the action and engaging and things like that.
Yeah, that reminds me of something I thought of when I was listening to Elder Bednar's talk. They both kind of talk about like grabbing attention, and I think now in our day we're more focused on like quick things. Like long posts are super hard for people to read now. Like they just don't have the attention. Yeah, it made me think of, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Lego Batman, but it was so fast. Like each scene was just like so fast. It made me think, oh, we just can't just sit and watch something that's like a normal pace anymore. We have to be constantly entertained. And so I was thinking maybe when we're sharing social media, instead of having super long posts, we post like pictures and then a couple sentences or something, because people will look at that more than just long paragraphs. I know I do. I always scroll past long paragraphs because I'm in a group that just doesn't have a long attention span.
Like, I did not have time for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
especially like people will rant too, and they go, "Oh my goodness!" And during the election, oh my goodness, I was like, okay. I mean, regardless of where you're at, whether you're Republican or Democrat, can everybody just calm down? Like, honestly, I was just kind of like, y'all need a vacation without your phones. You're killing it. Oh my goodness, that was rough. But
I have this friend that
go ahead.
For like 2 years, I swear, like every other day, she would just post like these huge, long, like gospel doctrine posts. And I was like, why am I getting mad at like her sharing the gospel? But like it was so long that I'm like, no one wants to really read this. Like while they're scrolling, like it just didn't inspire me. And so I like kind of made a goal, like, okay, like I want to share like she does, but I'm gonna share like short and sweet. Like I love that there's so many people, like graphic design people, who are making like quotes on fancy pictures from like conference, and that's what I shared for this assignment. Just like those, like Kayla said, like just short and sweet and simple and easy for them to read.
Yeah. I think one thing that I thought was interesting that both Ben and I mentioned it, and it was in the Dragonfly Effect, was the idea of being genuine and honest. And that was like, it was interesting that was in both. It was pretty apparent in both of them. And I think sometimes people think that you don't have to be genuine, maybe because they're not in front of them. So that's why people say whatever they want, and they normally would never say it if somebody was there, or they go a little bit overboard or whatever because they want to show, be a little more on the showy side. But I think, at least for me, that's always something that we've always been encouraged, obviously, to be honest and, unassuming and all those good ghost character things that we're supposed to have. But I think sometimes people think like, oh, it's social media. Like all of a sudden you can create like this new you, when really it should just be still you. And it's like, that should not get lost in the shuffle of social media. So anyway, that's one thing that I thought about.
Yeah. I think we watched something from Elder Uchtdorf in this class, or maybe I'm thinking of a different one, but he said, if necessary, use words. And so I thought that was really interesting, like if necessary. So then I was thinking maybe images or videos are a good idea. And I think because of him, video is mostly just images of him, not a lot of words. And I love that video. I love watching it. And then I think it's probably because it's not a lot of information to take in, but it makes you feel certain ways. And so that might be a good idea when we're doing our social media posts.
My mom is like full of quotes. She always she's got a quote for everything, but like they're always really short, and like I've like been able to apply them to my life. So I like that you brought up that whole, if necessary, use words, and how like minimal words can do so much good. Like when I think about it, and like the conference talks and things like those highlight things that I remember most are just like the short little quotes, and they've really got me moving and helped me a lot. So just finding, I mean, there's probably people who do better with longer and, can have more of an attention span, but I think it's good that we're aware that like people can be influenced by the short and sweet.
Yeah, definitely. The next couple of questions talk mostly about the weaknesses and strengths of these arguments. and if we agree or disagree with them. I feel like we kind of already talked about that, but it says, use the above readings from the dragonfly effect as a barometer. What evidence was left out that could have helped to further reinforce the argument, and what made it persuasive?
Well, in the dragonfly effect, the thing that made it persuasive was that it was a personal story, essentially. You know what I mean? That's really what it's about. And I think sometimes, you know, we forget, or I don't even know how we forget, but we do. People genuinely want to hear about other people's triumphs, you know, especially if they've overcome something or if they've learned something. We need that human connection, that because of the world we live in and because of how fast-paced and noisy it is, I think some of that is lost. And so I think making it personal kind of brings some of that back, that you kind of feel that connection. And I do think that that's really important. For as human beings, we need that. That's an important part of being human and being Heavenly Father's children and kind of helping each other out. So I think that the fact that it was a personal thing is what made it work. However, here's my thought process on this. The only thing that I worry about is, and so my husband is a detective for violent crimes, and he also works with the robbery task force. So, and before that, he was in the military. He was an Arabic interrogator. So for all of our lives, he's done like jobs like that. And so I just always, there was a time where it just wasn't very safe to tell people what he did. You know what I mean? It just kind of, and even now, like, you still have to be careful because people get very reactions out of it. Like all of my clients, like they have no idea. Like they will not know. They cannot know because most of them have been in prison. So that's just kind of how it goes. But because of that, I don't like sharing. That privacy factor is huge with me. So I think that that's the hard thing. It's like you want to make it personal, but you have to be careful what it is that you're sharing, because once it's out there, it's out there. Like you can't take it back. So I think that's the other part to it. And I'm sure, like, I don't know if you guys noticed that in the dragonfly effect, one of the things that I thought was really neat is there was a lot of people involved in that. It wasn't just one person. And I think that that probably is what really helped, because before they would put it out there, I'm sure they helped each other like proofread it and check it out and make sure it's okay and kind of help each other out that way. Because just for privacy, you know, you do have to be careful nowadays. And that's the other part to that, because even though, yeah, you can do a blog and yeah, you can do this and they're not supposed to be able to see it or whatever, you know, people can essentially get into anything nowadays. So that's the only part that for me is like, I kind of wish they kind of touched a little bit on getting personal with how to do that and being safe. I guess the safety part of it.
Yeah, I agree. It goes along with just like working with people's feelings, because when people are emotionally invested, then they're more interested and more willing to act. And it goes with the take action part. I didn't, on my social media thing, I didn't invite anyone to take any action. I wish I would have, but in the future I will. But yeah, I agree that it should be personal, but where's the line? Like, what is too personal and what is just too, you know?
Yeah.
So, Elder Bednar talked at one point about the flood, and he said that what we've done right now is just a trinkle compared to the flood that is going to come. And I thought that was so interesting, because I felt like we've been doing pretty good right now, but we have done the minimalist amount compared to what is going to be in the future. And that made me think of the parable of the virgins, how at the very end they wanted to join in, but since they hadn't been working the whole time, then they weren't able to make it. And so with this flood of spreading the gospel. I want to be in the flood. I want to be involved. And so I want to be able to work now so that I can be part of that and not wait until the last second. So I liked when he said that. I thought that was really cool. More with the social media on our assignment today. It said to make sure that we go over these in our discussion. So it says identify which websites and blogs you visited first. Then share, do you agree or disagree with the argument made? What were some of its strengths and weaknesses? And use the above readings from the Dragonfly Effect as a barometer. So I guess we kind of did that, but we didn't talk about any websites or blogs that we looked at. So did you guys find anything that...
Yeah, I discovered one, and I thought it was a really cute one, actually. It's called Tiny Buddha. And I know, it's really weird, really random. But anyway, and it really is very simple, and it's just like a positive thought. Like, there you go. Like, really small, but it's really cute. And anyway, I liked it. I thought it was really good. I think it's like non-denominational, because I think there's like, you know, Christian, like nice beliefs, even just if people don't believe anything, but just very positive thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me of the Six Sisters page or whatever, the Six Sisters stuff. And when I was reading that, I was like, oh, wait, none of this is really religious. It's just talking about families, but it's so interesting. And I would totally read this. Like, I was really interested, and they made it look beautiful and like fun recipes and stuff on there, and it totally promotes the family. And I thought that's a great idea. It doesn't have to be totally like deep doctrine, religious things to grab people's attention and spread the gospel. So I really like that page. I also, I looked at the BYU Idaho Child and Family Advocacy page, and it has lots of quotes and videos and awesome things that we can just click share on it, and it's a good message. So I like that one.
So I found there's this lady on Instagram, and her Instagram page is called The Allison Show. And she, I think it was just like her own like private or her personal Instagram. And then, I don't know, she just like talks about her journey of like finding herself and like loving herself. And she started this thing called the Year of Awesome. And she has this calendar where each week you have to focus on a characteristic. And so like each week she's like, this week focus on having fun. This week focus on being humble, that, you know, different things like that. And then she has these podcasts, and every day they're called gratitude practices. And like she's like, for the longest time, I would run because I hated my body. I would run because I hated what I looked like. And I had to change that. And she's like, now I run because I'm grateful that I was given a body. I'm grateful I was given legs that can make me run. And she's like, she said, there was one post, she's like, this is the most successful weight loss diet plan, whatever, of my life. And she's like, and all I've done was focus on gratitude. And I think that was just such a great resource of like.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's awesome.
What is her name?
Allison Faulkner, I think. Let me look it up. But her Instagram page is called The Allison Show with one L.
Okay, The Allison Show. Okay.
Yeah, but she's awesome. And and like, it was really sad. She was on one of her gratitude runs, and she got hit by a car.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but she was like so positive about it. And like, I'm like, I would be complaining every day, and she would like make jokes out of it. And she's like, oh man, I feel like I've been hit by a car. Oh wait. And like, but I know that if that would happen to me right now, I would not be responding to the situation like she was. And I know that because of her focusing on gratitude and her focusing on like finding the good in the world, like she was able to come out like this. But also, one thing I love about her is I really feel like she like did the dragonfly thing. Like she's making money now off of, like, she's starting programs to help people and like making money. She's like doing a movement, but like also like becoming more financially stable for her family and like things like that. And I think it's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mentioned that doing these things isn't focused on the money, but it's really awesome if you can go ahead and do that and earn money. And,
Exactly.
So good for her.
Yeah. And like she's kind of, I mean, you could kind of put her under the category of like the Utah mommy bloggers, but like she's so different from them. And like I follow a couple Utah mommy bloggers, and like it's interesting how some like really focus. They're just, I mean, like there was this huge movement and they're like, I try to be authentic and there's people who shut me down. So I'm just going to post like the things I get paid to post type thing. But like, she's not one of those. She's just like, I want to make you feel empowered. I want you to know that you are worth something. And I'm like, wow, you're so amazing. And she makes money from it. So there you go.
I guess that's our goal, to make people feel good about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've actually gone through all the questions, and we have met the time limit for 3 of us. So,
Wait.
hello.
Hi, sorry. Just barely walked in the door.
We just finished.
Yeah, I was going to say, I get credit, right? For something. Oh,
We're trying.
yeah. So how's it going? How's
It's good.
good?
Do you
We
want to share if you were able to find a blog? I found Tiny Buddha. It's a blog. It was really cute. And it has just a lot of positive ideas and thoughts and things to ponder. And then somebody else was mentioning, what was that again? The Allison Show on Instagram, I guess.
Okay.
So did you find anything?
Actually, my girlfriend from high school has a blog. It's called Lunch Pails and Lipstick. And it started out as a blog. It's kind of a sad story. We grew up in the same ward and everything, and her husband ended up becoming addicted to prescription drugs. He's a dentist. And they ended up divorcing over that. And so she has four little girls, and she was just trying to hang in there as a single mom, making ends meet. And she got this idea to do this blog with another friend from high school. They're both members. And they did it, and they were picked up by, is it Neiman Marcus? Somebody big, like, picked them up, like, right away. So she's making bank now.
Nice.
as a mom with her little girls. Yeah. So it's called Lunch Pails and Lipstick, and they have all kinds of, it's just really upbeat and cute and fun. And she's into health and fitness and all that stuff. So yeah, it's huge. And now she has an Instagram that's linked to it and all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I was proud of her. I was like, go Lisa.
Yes, we just finished all the questions, but was there anything that...
Oh, you guys finished them all?
Yeah.
You weren't kidding? Oh, gosh.
But was there anything that you wanted to share, or something that stuck out this week as
I just think, I guess what I get from it is, it's not like, they're saying, I kind of felt like when I watched the thing, I was like, wow, I really should feel pressure to like have more to say on social media than I do, or to have, because I have such a negative attitude about it. I really do. But now I kind of feel like it's not saying that you should, but if you are, make sure that what you're posting is good,
Thank you, Stacey. That makes me feel better.
Oh, good.
Because I was just telling the girls that I was like, the whole privacy thing, and I have a feeling that you're probably that way too because of your husband's job.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling them, my husband is a PD officer. He's an investigator for violent crimes.
Oh, yeah.
He was in the military, and he was an Arabic interrogator. So because of all those things, like, we are very private, and we've had to be, and especially certain times in this country, it's gotten kind of hard, I think. And people I was telling them, to be honest with you, all of my clients, none of them know. Like, they have no clue. They they've never known. They don't know anything about my family. They certainly don't know what my husband does for a living, and they won't.
Yeah.
Most of them have been in prison. So,
Yeah.
so, you know what I mean? It's just not safe. And so that's the part that I kind of wish they kind of touched a little bit more on, just the safety portion of it. But like you, I have a really hard time with it because of that trust safety thing. You know?
Like anybody could steal your images. I mean, there's so many things. Like, I can understand how this can propel the gospel. I mean, huge in ways that we never have been able to before. But you have to be able to have the mindset, the maturity. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't think kids should have any part of it. I don't care how you tweak it. I don't think that they need to have any part of it. It is that evil and that ugly, and I don't think they're strong enough, mentally strong enough to be able to handle what's out there. But yeah, I mean, I'm under there. When he was training at the academy and stuff, there's a way that you can completely like erase yourself off the web, because you can just do a Google search and you can find out where somebody lives.
Yeah.
So he got us like all deleted off and everything. And then we moved up to Alaska, and it was kind of like, okay, maybe I do need to have something so that my family, that's the only way that we keep in touch. There's like, I wouldn't know if anyone died if I wasn't on Facebook. I mean, it's pathetic. So I'm on there under my maiden name, which of course caused all kinds of speculation. Did you get a divorce? Are you, No.
If I did that, people would be like, what?
I should have just said yes. I'm just up here hanging out in Alaska with the kids. Anyway, I guess my thing is, if you're going to use it for good, but you shouldn't ever feel pressured like you have to participate in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a personal choice, and there's plenty of ways that you can be a good missionary without being on social media. So anyway, thanks for letting me join in the last 2 minutes.
It's good to see you guys.
Thank you, guys. What do I need to do for next week, since I couldn't do my thing this week? Do you guys want me to lead, or did you already decide?
We haven't decided. We actually still need to do the summary.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that.
Awesome.
So at the start, we talked about technological advancement. We brought up smartphones, Facebook, social media. It's pointed out just how phones is probably one of the main like stable things, even though like they're still advancing, like that's still a way people communicate. We talked about how why we think the Lord kind of brought, let's see, what is it? Oh, why the Lord is kind of behind these advances. And we talked about how it's there to hasten the work, to spread the light, spread the gospel through social media. It's just another outlet that we can use, especially to get to people across the world. Let's see. I should have put these with the questions, so I'm like going back and forth. We talked about our day-to-day behaviors and how we may not always use it to spread the gospel, and how that's something we want to acquire. A lot of people use it to get attention. And then we talked about how it's easy to let your self-confidence rely on, your social media responses.
Right.
When talking about the connections between Elder Bednar's principles and the four wings of the dragonfly, let's see. Oh, I talked about how Elder Bednar, I feel like he really guides us in the wings development of just qualities, and we expanded more on the importance of honesty and being genuine in our posts, and how that's something we've always been raised to do, and we need to continue that.
Good.
On our social media posts. Let's see. Next questions were, okay, we just kind of touched on all those. So some more notes I put was how sharing, okay, this is when Lena talked about like being private, but also like being personal and open up, like in ways that you can, and how like in the story, it was a personal story and it helped it be more persuasive, and how people genuinely want to hear of other people's triumphs, and we need that human connection. And some of it is lost in the noise and the swiftness of the world that we live in. But then be careful of what you're sharing, and you can't take it back. And so just be aware of privacy. Have people proofread. Be safe, and then invite people to take action. And then Kayla talked about the parable of the virgins and how, since they weren't working the whole time, they weren't able to make it, and how when we have the opportunity, we should get involved. We should work now. We should do our part to use social media for good and uplift people. And that is what I've got.
Awesome. I feel like I was at the meeting now. Guys, you did perfect.
All right, so I will go ahead and stop the recording, and then I will post the link.
Okay.
Go.
Do we want to talk about?
Next week. Who's doing what?
I can lead the discussion.
Do you guys want me to summarize, since I am going to be a little bit unpredictable for a while with getting here on time?
No worries. Do you want to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can be the,
Kayla, do you want to call everyone, or do you want me to?
I don't know how, but I can figure it out.
Okay.
So
if you can't and you need help, just call me or email me.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. The easiest thing is to go on YouTube, though. That's how I do it, and I've never had a problem connecting with you guys that way. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I did last week too.
Yeah.
awesome.
But if you need any help, just give a shout out.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.